us out here.
Okay, good. The blackout did not happen in Texas. Everybody can calm down. I think that's supposed to happen on the day of the eclipse or something, according to what are they called? They don't want to be called conspiracy theorists. I think they're called, I don't know. I don't know the politically correct term for them anymore.
Well, how does it feel to be back in Texas? Like, did you feel like, well, first of all, when you were shooting in Atlanta, like, what was that like? Were you enjoying the process of it?
I was. I really missed being creative. Like, I love being on set and creating and playing. I hate all the time in between. I didn't like that I shot on a Wednesday and my next shoot day wasn't until the following Tuesday. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go in, I want to do my work and leave. So then I had all these days to like twiddle my thumbs. And I ended up driving up to North Carolina to kind of just look around there. But
Yeah.
it feels so good to be back home. Wherever home is, you know? Yeah, I love being in Texas, but wherever my stuff is at, my family is at, that's where I want to be the most.
Did you feel comfortable on set doing doing your lines and stuff? Did you feel like natural?
Yeah, I feel way more confident these days than I ever have. Um, I'd almost have like zero nerves. As long as I know that I know the lines,
Yeah.
I just do it, you know, and I just do it as me. I'm not trying to bring on some big character, you know, that I've done a month of pretending to be like. I'm playing me as this character.
I can't wait to see it. I hope you send me some stuff when it gets out. You know,
Yeah.
catch Shazia on Descendants on the Disney show. She plays Princess. Somebody says we both look like Indian scammers. That's great. It's always fun comments.
What does that mean? Yeah, no, I'm Princess Jasmine in the Disney Descendants 4. That'll be out this summer.
And you don't dress in as Little House on the Prairie, I'm assuming.
No, this is just my home attire.
No, good. I also went to Oregon. I did stand up in Oregon last weekend.
How was that? Was that your first time in Oregon? What'd you think?
No, I've actually been there. My
Oh.
my acting credits. I filmed Grimm. I was a bad guy in the MC Grimm,
Oh.
a renowned actor. And so this is my second time to Oregon. But I was in Lincoln City, Oregon, which is like this redneck. Like their biggest claim to fame is like Bigfoot. Like you drive through the town, it's like all these Bigfoot statues.
That's
And
kind of fun.
yeah, but like Bigfoot's like 90 years old now, so he has like a walker, and he's like
I've
yelling.
heard that.
He's like yelling at people like, "Get off my property now!" It's a different Bigfoot now, but
He's
it was
bitter.
yeah he's bitter. Bigfoot's big, but it was good. You know, if you do stand up, I think stand up is a lot different than acting. If you do stand up, you kind of have to be in the weeds and like interact with like real people. If you really want to do this professionally, you've gotta do any audience, and you know, it was interesting. It was just that's all I can say about it.
Well, I told you I've recently gotten my kids into watching stand-up comedy, and they love it. They love it. I think we're going to surprise them with their first live show, in April.
Who are you gonna who are they gonna watch? Like Cat Williams?
No, we're going to take them to see, is it Nick or Nate Borghese?
Oh, Nate Bargatze. He's really funny.
Bargatze.
He's very
He's
funny
so
too.
funny. We love him.
Um,
Child friendly.
I was just talking to his opener actually last week, and he plays 20,000 seaters. Like it's
Oh,
crazy how
he,
big this guy is.
he's playing the biggest arena in Houston.
Yeah,
I were just saying that. I'm like, and he's got over 100 dates. We were
yeah.
trying to calculate the math, but it's too big of an equation.
I know the math. I can tell you off screen.
Okay.
But it's crazy. Like a lot of these guys are just. You know who I ran into? I mean, we're name dropping here. So I go for these walks at night, like late at night, and just clear my head. And I'm walking down La Cienega, and this is me by myself, and I hear Tarun. The people say Tarun, Americanize my name, and I turn around, and it's Theo Vaughn. Right, Theo? We did Bobby Khan,
Oh, yes.
and I was like Theo, and I was like, I haven't seen Theo in like 10 years at least, maybe, because and I'm so glad I talked to him on the street because I know how famous he is, and it's just like I would have never been able to like talk to him one on one. Same guy, same down to earth dude, so nice. And but I was talking to him at the same time. You just forget, like, oh my god, like there are these different levels to showbiz, like whether it's Cal Penn, like your level, but you're working actress, or Nate Bargatze, like these different like spheres of like comedy or acting, right? Which I don't even know what that's like. I've never touched the sun like that, but people have, and it must be just surreal to get to that level.
Yeah, or I think that what we forget is a lot of these people have put some time in. And so by the time you get to that level, you're like I said, I show up on set now, I don't have nerves. I'm not scared. I know what everything means. I know what, the set environment. So I mean, if I was to be on some show right now, people are like, "Oh, she came out of nowhere." No, I
Yeah,
put almost 30 years into it. Um, I think it's important to remember that we're all on a ladder. It's very rare that something like a Ashton Kutcher arrived in from Ohio to LA to model and overnight booked that 70s show. That happens very rarely. You have to put the time in, and then it is a little bit about luck. You got to be auditioning for the right thing at the right time when you are also prepared to audition for that, and then it's just a matter of being right for the part.
I think it's a matter of luck too, with like timing of just the business. Like there's a thing called Just for Laughs in Montreal. I don't know if you're aware of that. This
Mm.
huge comedy festival, and they basically pick like these new faces every year, like 10 new faces, 12 new faces. And those are the comics that, that all the industry floods out to Montreal to watch these people, and their careers are started. Like a lot of people got their start there, like Kevin Hart, Jimmy Fallon. It's a good. It's so competitive to get into this stupid festival. This year they went bankrupt. There's no more Just for Laughs. And I was telling a friend, I was like, this is the sign of the market changing. Like, like the Tonight Show doesn't mean shit anymore. Just for Laughs doesn't mean shit anymore. Now it's about podcasting. It's about social media. The market has changed, and
Oh, absolutely. Our industry as we know it, it's no longer what it used on so many levels. Uh, on content, on the way we get paid, or the way we are on set is so different. You don't leave, like, you're there to work. You're not there to hang out in your trailer and learn your lines anymore. You learn your lines before you show up to set, and once you're at set, you stay on set in Village waiting if they need you. You are the eye line for the other actor, where like 20 years ago it was like, oh, we'll have a stand-in, let the main cast go back to their trailers and relax. No, I can't remember a time other than 20 years ago that I went back to my trailer to relax. You are working, you're working hard, and you're getting paid less.
this is so funny you're talking about having a trailer. But I'm also talking about just just the fact of not being a diva, because you could totally be a diva too. I don't want to name names, but there was a person I met, and she kind of blew up, and I was telling a friend, I was like, she thinks she's like all that, and who gives a shit? It's like this shit can be taken away from you so fast.
I don't think that flies anymore on sets, to be honest. People are not in that frame of mind of you get to be a diva. We're all the same and we're all here to work. I would think, at least the sets I've been on.
Well, I see that with famous people. I'm not saying again. That's why I mentioned Theo, because he's not like that at all. But I know some people, and they've totally changed. But I think this business kind of just fucks with your head because people start. You got PR people, you got teams around you. everyone's jumping through hoops for you. So just I think it messes with your head after a while, and I don't know. I I'm not famous, so I can't really speak to it, but I definitely see changes in people.
Well, also because the people around you, the way they treat you changes. I think that people start hating on you, like, and you start becoming a little like, oh, I'm guarded, and guarded can come off as diva. Um, you either start having suddenly new friends that you never had that show a sudden interest in you, or you have people who are trying to, they want nothing but the worst. They don't want you to succeed. And these are sometimes close friends. You know, they're triggered by you. And so it changes you. I think that that absolutely changes a person.
Yeah. Well, I heard this once that people have new friends because they don't want to be around anybody who remembers the old them.
Hmm.
You like because they've kind of reinvented themselves. They don't want to be around people who knew them when they were struggling, who know their insecurities. It's like you almost have like a makeover in the business. And there are people, I swear to God, there are people who I find so annoying, my stand-up circle. And I tell my friends, dude, if I was famous, I would never talk to these people ever again. Like they're so annoying and they're so just like energy draining. Like I don't know why I talk to you now. So I kind of get that why people level up.
I can understand that. I can understand your circle becoming a lot smaller and a lot more specific. Um, when you are at a when you continue up ladder, if you call it an up ladder, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I also had this weird epiphany where I was like, as actors, a little bit feeling like a circus performer. You
Mm.
know, like, okay, let's bring out the animals. Okay, animals, and action, do your little thing. Okay, and cut. Okay, and let's herd the animals back over here. And I was like, are we performing like, are we performance animals in a circus? I don't want to think that way, but there was a strange
Well, at least
correlation.
at least you're like one of the main actors. I mean, I worked as an extra once, and you feel like cattle for sure.
Yes.
If anybody has any questions for Shazia, please jump in, or me, and you can ask about being cattle. But they literally treat you like, hey, go wait in this pen, and then come out, and then walk back and forth, and you're like, oh my god. There's a series called Extra with Ricky Gervais. Have you seen that?
Yes, yes. So good.
Yeah, it's really good. Did you ever do anything like that coming up?
I did one extra job when I was 18 for Sweet Valley High. And I was like, yeah, no, not my jam. Just never did an extra gig again.
Mm. Did you ever have any diva moments as an actress where you're like, you know what? Screw this. This is what it's gonna be like. Or you just always
Mm, no. I'm so easygoing and lighthearted. I'm not trying to, I don't have control issues. Um, I'm a team player.
but sometimes you need I'm just taking a devil's advocate here. Sometimes you need like for example, like say you're in your trailer and there are people around, you're like, yo, where's my fucking coffee? I need to wake up or guys, get out of my trailer. Like I need space. Like I'm like that with stand up sometimes. I'm like, yo, because sometimes people will start talking to you before you perform, like you're in the back room, and people are in the green room, and you're like, yo, I need this space cleared out. Like I can't have people in here ask me dumb shit before the show because I gotta like just mentally just focus. So I don't know. I guess I have those moments here and there.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty. I just put my earplugs in, and nobody bothers me when those are in. But I do that on airplanes too, because I don't always want to be talked to. I guess if that's a diva moment, then that's a diva moment.
What do you listen to?
I listen to podcasts. Sometimes I'll listen to books on audio. But gone are the days where I would just zone out to music. I used to listen to a lot more music. I don't find myself listening to too much music these days.
You're like an android. What is music?
Yes.
Podcasting.
Yeah, it's way more interesting and stimulating for my brain to listen to someone talking or even a book.
That's good, Shaz. You live in the dream. Maybe this podcast will go viral. Then, would you do a podcast every day? Like, say someone said, "Hey, you know what? You don't have to act anymore, and your podcast is making $1 million a month, but you've got to do this podcast every day in Texas." Would you do that? Would you be like a podcaster, like a Joe Rogan type, or whoever the female version of that is,
$1 million a month? Yes.
or 100,000? Let's say 100,000.
Yes. Yes. You? I mean, $100,000 a month? Come on.
Yeah, I'd move to Texas, and
Yeah.
I'd live next door to you and Stuart.
Yeah, I'm down 100%. I mean, I would still want to do something creative on the side because I do like creating and acting, but when you're not in it, well, I don't know that you can be in it for money anymore, to be honest. I feel like these new actors that are moving to LA, the amount of money they have to spend to even get an agent before they have headshots, a reel, and then have their equipment set up. And now casting networks, did you see they're $300 a year for casting networks?
Is it
Just so
really?
you can turn in your own auditions that you get through your agent. It's highway robbery. And then you have to have actors access, and then you may have to have backstage, and you probably have casting networks, along with your agent charging you a fee to be on their website. And then, a really good headshot session these days will end up costing you like $700-800.
Come to LA, people, and experience the magic. You're in Texas. I mean, this is all stuff that you're dealing with in Texas.
It's everywhere. It's the industry. You have to have money to make money, and then when you start making money, it's like, well, you better be going for the series regular, the really big guest star, because the co-stars, that it's going to cost you money to be a co-star sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Do you follow the landscape of what's going on in television in general? Like, do you guys watch TV together aside from Nate Bargatze?
The family, no, my kids aren't. They watch TV on the weekends, mainly movies that come out. We're not like, I watch TV shows that are trending. Like I just watched Daisy Jones and the Six. That was really good.
Oh, what's that? Daisy Jones.
Yeah, did you not see it? It's really good.
Is that a
It's
Disney show? Sounds like a Disney show.
No, mm-mm. It's based off of oh my goodness, I can't even think of that band, but it's a band in like the early 80s, and so everything takes place during that time. So it's very nostalgic, it's music, it's about bands and Hollywood, old Hollywood, Panga Canyon, Laurel Canyon, what was going on in the music world back then.
I get sad whenever I see anything nostalgic from the '80s.
You
Like,
get sad?
yeah,
Why?
I don't know. Like all these like TikTok videos will show up like of like old cereal commercials or like just, and I just think, oh my god, it was such a simpler time back in the '80s.
It really was. We were really the last generation of simplicity and like a little bit of innocence.
Yeah, so I just feel like I don't know. But then I also saw this. Somebody had this really good analogy about life. You know those pop-up screens on the computers, and you got to close them, like this ad.
Yes,
And they were saying that's what life is. We're just popping up on this earth for like a brief amount of time, then we're gone. So, so I think, I mean, I think you're always going to say your generation was the best, but I feel really lucky that got to experience, '80s and '90s. I don't know, those were great times for me. People always say, "Oh, high school was tough." Those were great years for me. I had a great time when I was a kid.
me too. Me too. I really enjoyed high school and all of those years. Yeah, but
But
it's such a short amount of time. You're right. Like, can you believe we've made it to here? And I mean, it's like that went by fast.
but to be fair, you were always conventionally attractive. So don't people who are more attractive have an easier time coming up?
No, I mean, I think there's a different set of challenges, kind of like what I was saying before, where I think, and I don't think I'm the most attractive. Thank you, Darwin. But I think those really beautiful people struggle with a lot of hate. People are jealous. People are mean because simply because of the way they look. Even in customer service, you think that it works in extremes. Either those people get what they want depending on who they're dealing with, or someone's just like, no, I'm going to instantly hate you.
Because I see people a lot of online bullying and stuff,
Mhm.
but they're usually, I mean, I don't know, I don't have kids, but I would imagine, okay, let me rephrase this. Like a lot of my nephews and nieces, like they're very social, or like they're good at sports, they're good at this, and I'm like, man, that's so important to have that skill. You're social with other kids, because, man, you can be smart or whatever, but if you're a freak in your class, that's gonna just cause you problems. If you don't have any friends, elementary school, middle school, high school, so many issues can arise from that. I think being a social kid, being well liked, being know how to like communicate, that's so important as a child. And I'm sure, and you're part of the dance team. I'm sure you were social.
I was always extremely social. But I also find that those times are different now. I remember my eldest in California, they had this thing called the buddy bench. So if you don't have someone to play with and you're alone, you go sit on the buddy bench, and then the teachers see it and they encourage these kids, go play with the person on the buddy bench. No, if you see someone on the buddy bench, you go and be friends with them. And I think that they are kind of getting rid of that you're a free thing, and it's almost like, no, we're all inclusive of everyone, everything in this generation.
Do you think that's the progressive agenda of like, you got to be friends with everybody? Or, because I also feel like on the flip side is like, yo, you got to man up, like none of this pussy shit. Like, you got to be you got to grow up, kids. Like nobody's gonna coddle you.
I
So
do think that it's gone to the extreme. I think that we needed to move out of where we were, but it's like all the way over here where everyone gets a trophy and everyone is amazing and everyone is, but I don't think that that makes stronger people. I think we need to go somewhere in the middle where we're not mean to people, right? Let's just not be mean. That's all. It doesn't need to be so extreme. I don't get the extremes.
yeah,
It's
I
really about being nice and being mean. Everything is just it's good or bad, nice or mean. Like,
and just to loop this back to Hollywood, because there's no participation trophy here in Hollywood or where you are. Like,
no.
you either get the part or you don't, and people will just not call you back if you're not interesting enough for them. Like, that's why, like, it's important for kids to understand that coming up. Like, this is what failure feels like. You're not going to get everything you want in life, and you have to deal with it. Like,
Actors deal with it every day. Every day. It is not for the faint of heart. It is a tough, emotionally difficult career path.
but Chaz, it's not just actors; it's life in general. I
You're
mean,
right.
I
But
mean, think
actors deal with it daily, Tharun.
the dudes on dating apps. Not me, but I'm saying, but like, it's like you get shot down all the time. There are jobs you want, things you just can't. It's hard. Life throws you these um, curveballs that you got to adjust to.
Yeah. No, we do need to have these kids prepared for those curveballs. I think that's why there's a lot of mental health crisis because, I mean, it's tough. As a parent, I don't want my child to go through a hard time. I want to save them. But, I went through some hard times. It made me who I am. And it was important. It was important to fail. It was important to lose. The Doritos commercial given to someone. That's part of my journey. It makes me who I am.
That's so funny. I thought you were gonna say like, like
Like something real. Now, I don't want to like talk about my family or like personal
I
stuff.
know, but I literally thought you were gonna say like death of a family member, and you're like the Doritos.
That does. That'll change you in a major, major way. It'll give you a whole new perspective on life and our journey. I've lost both parents, so I'm parentless completely. And that in itself, that's a big game. So you lose one parent, you're like, okay, I still have one other parent. But when they're both gone, it's a different, you're like, wait, what am I falling through life? Like, who do I call?
Well, at least you have your family though.
Exactly. I do. And that is, yeah, my safe place. And I have my siblings. I remember when after I had my first child and it was so traumatic and I was like, "Mom, I don't know if I can do this again." The whole pregnancy thing and all of that. And she's like, "Well, you're not having a second kid for you. You're having a second kid for the first kid because you're going to die one day and they're going to need each other." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay." I didn't
Well,
think about that, but it's true because now that my parents are both gone, I have my siblings, and so they live on through us.
I barely talk to my siblings, and my mom's dead, so it's like I'm by myself. I was at a comedy club yesterday, and it was such a shit show. And my buddy goes to me, he's married with a kid, and he goes, "You've got to get married and just get out of this world." He's like, "This cannot be your only world because it is such a nightmare, this comedy world, and it's such a filled with lunatics." And I was actually saw the point in it. I was like, "That's a valid reason to get married, just so you have something else to ground yourself."
I think too, though, yeah, I think it's important to have someone that you have a partner that is a safe place that you grow old with them, because nobody wants to be totally alone. That's why people join gangs or cults, right? They're looking for love. They're alone. So just finding a partner, someone to
I'm
grow.
thinking about it. Cult sounds pretty good right now.
Maybe you should start with a pet.
Why did you say it like that? Start with that.
Because I think that that's actually very healing and comforting. It
Like,
gives you something else to focus on. It gives you something that loves you unconditionally,
like
which
a
can
like a
be
lizard or
super healing, huh?
like a lizard or a snake.
Yeah, no, I was thinking warm blooded, more on the warm blooded side. You could start with a bird.
I had a bird. David Tell has a great joke about getting a pet lizard. You know what David Tell is, and he goes, you might as well draw eyes on a shoe.
Basically. Yeah, don't get a lizard.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I definitely want to get a pet before I age out of it. 'Cause you can't get a dog when you're like 60 or 70 because what if you die and the dog ends up eating your face because you're alone in the apartment, right? You want to get a dog in your prime years.
I don't know. I think you should get a dog anytime or a cat.
Or a
I'm a
dog
fan.
cat.
I'm a fan of pets. There's this movie coming out, this documentary coming out next weekend. Have you heard of it? It's called Christ Spiracy.
Oh yeah, it's on my queue. Christ.
So it's a very interesting take on veganism.
Is it a
I,
comedy?
no, this is a documentary, and it's basically like, are we supposed to be eating meat that's killed the way it's killed in these factories, these meat processing factories? And it basically is like, how would Jesus kill an animal? Is like the log line of the movie, and I'm so curious. I'm curious.
I mean, what's a humane way to kill an animal? Like you blindfold him, like have him smoke a cigarette. Like There's no humane way to do it.
I think the humane way is the way like the Native Americans did it, where they had to go out, they had arrows and bows, and they had to hunt, and they prayed over the animal. They let all the blood out first, which I think like they do that. Isn't that what kosher is? And just honoring the animal and using every part of it. I think that might be what they're talking about. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm just thinking.
Well, in a godless world, it doesn't matter. The apex predator wins, and the cows are. There's this TikTok short I saw about these cows. It's really funny. You gotta. I guess it's not funny if you're. But to me, it was funny. These cows escaped the slaughterhouse, and they're running amok in the city. And they're called like freedom cows. Like they label these cows like freedom cows because like they were like these cows just want to be safe. And so they rounded up the cows. They brought them back to the slaughterhouse, and there was at this point it's in the news like these cows are running amok. So they rescued the cows, and now they all live like in a pasture together. And the girl's telling the story. And she was like crying. She's like, and now Betsy and whatever the hell the cow's name, they all live together, and they're just like cows eating grass. And a happy story. Like the cows escaped, and now they can live the rest of their life.
I Here's the thing, Darwin. I mean, I don't know. I'm so not like a crazy like this is the way I think and you can't move me. I'm always open
Yeah.
to information. I'm open to someone changing my mind about things. Always, always, always. Um, but I did watch this video of salmon farming and like water lice that gets on the like farmed salmon. I will never eat it again. I'm so not.
How do
It
you know which is farmed? I've never even heard of that.
They just live in their filth and they all have diseases and it's like in their meat and they're not meant to be farmed. They live in these circular like in the water like bins. I'm doing it no justice, but perhaps you should Google it. I just can't have farmed salmon anymore. And it's not because I'm worried about the feelings of the fish. I'm worried about the health of what I'm consuming and how that affects my body. Um, However, the feelings of the fish, if you are worried about them, I can see that side too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair.
I'm not okay with the conditions that these fish live in to be given to us as food.
Well, last chance for people if you want to ask any questions about Shazia about acting or farm salmon as we wrap up this amazing episode. Please feel free. I'm glad you have a purpose in that. I feel like you found yourself in your later years in life. Like you kind of found your values and what's important to you. That
I
gets
It was always there, right? It's having the confidence to be like, I love myself and I accept my flaws as well as my gifts and my talents. I don't think I accepted either of those things in my 20s.
we're like the exact antithesis of each other. Jesus, this is why this has to work. I literally woke up like, God, I hate this. I told you, I texted you before this. I was like, I want to quit everything. I was like, this is just no meaning in anything that I do. It's
But
weird.
you're an artist and artists go through this. This is part of the artist journey. It's
It's
to
not,
have burnout.
that sounds like a euphemism, artist journey. Maybe I'm just fucked up. Like, oh, he jumped off a bridge. It's the artist journey. He had to, he had to go.
Don't joke about that, Tharun. I
Yeah.
will go over there and bring you here and make you live in the shed and work on my pool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Look at you. You have a full shed?
You should come. No, but It is. The art journey is hard, and it has peaks and valleys, and the valleys are low. So
Yeah. You went blank, Shaz. Oh, I guess that's it, guys. Shazia, did you mute yourself? Oh, well. That's a good time to wrap up, Shaz, regardless.
wait, there you are. Okay, can you hear me now?
Well, you went black now, but this is actually a good time to wrap up regardless.
Okay.
Shazia, always great talking to you. I'm glad the universe jumped in and ended this podcast for us and cut your and and
All right.
but hey, we had a great time. Thanks for tuning in. Catch Shazia on Descendants 4 or
Yes, please.
and we will talk to you later. Thanks guys. Take care everybody.
Bye.
And see